YouTube. I'm starting the fifth part of my political, geopolitical, spiritual thesis on sovereignty. The name of it is Sovereignty or Captivity, your choice. I believe that to a large degree, the power of choice, the power of the will, the power of resolve is understated. It's understated because there has been geopolitical norms of thought that was established in order to keep the word sovereignty limited only to nations and geopolitical principalities of powers and authorities that make up the various executive arms of the government. But there is a sovereignty that supersedes man-made sovereignty, and that is the accumulation of what is defined as human rights. Human rights are divinely given, divinely defined, and divinely acknowledged as independent of all governmental, political norms of designations. They have established executive definition of rights only defined in the civil term. There is a difference between civil rights and human rights. Civil rights are rights defined, regulated, and distributed by state and government. With civil rights, you are only able to utilize some rights under the dictates and the constraints that government place upon you in the utilization of them rights. During the civil rights era, it was normally and politically established that people of African descent did not have the humanity that defined the essence of human rights. They also had no governmental dictate that even declared that they was in possession of civil rights. That was created for the purpose of being able to utilize whatever malicious means of control that the government deemed fit to inflict upon the people that was devoid of any human concern, human designation, or human acceptance of respect. So therefore, conditions was placed that not only perpetrated inhumane, undignified, and maliciously callous treatment, but that system of control was continually repeated in order to embed within the mind of people of African descent that their humanity was not present, or presentable for them to be treated in a presentable manner. Now, therefore, that being the case, any concept of sovereignty, moral or otherwise, was not only foreign but prohibited to even the thought processes of the black male, the black race. And to a degree that is resurfacing itself on a level that crosses all racist lines of distinction. So therefore, not only the word sovereignty is not even in any wise associated with any one individual or collective individuals at that. There is an attempt being made to utilize under designation attempts to make that word itself void and nullified. There are some conspiracy theories that believe that there is a movement of international scope that is being perpetrated to strip this nation's concept of sovereignty. Now, they are under the belief that sovereignty stripped from this nation will prelude the entrance of the New World Order that will usher in a new system of government that is international in scope. They believe that steps are being taken to dismantle all national arms of government and to reconfigure a new, more pervasive definition of government that does not have borders of restriction, that does not limit the influences that are under the constraints of nations with borders. So this government will become international in scope to the extent where the entire nations will become concentration prison camps, whereby the populace will have no rights that will in any wise prohibit any political, military, economic constraints, therefore making the people totally susceptible to any law utilized for the purpose of constraining and eliminating any, according to their concept, any impediments that they defined as rights. So therefore, under these circumstances, under ever-emerging circumstances, rights are being defined as impediments to the progression of civilization. It has already been societal experiment that is being conducted upon the populace, according to the conspiracy theories of this decade and previous decades as well. They believe that the conditions of criminal escalation of violence, lawlessness on scales that put the entire populace at risk is nothing more than a societal experiment to desensitize the populace to the degree where they will forego any impediments that is defined as rights as a means of being secure within their persons. So literally they will forego any aspect of what is defined as the Constitution, any impediments that define the human inheritance of human rights. They will relinquish every aspect of what is defined as impediments to the betterment of civilized thought in order to feel secure. So the unconstrained escalation of criminal conduct and lawlessness is basically being contained. They are containing that environment only as a means of protecting themselves. But the protection of the populace has been forsaken, ignored, and relinquished because they want the criminal to run free according to his concept of freedom, so that the escalation of crime will become so unbearably exerted upon the populace that they will relinquish their rights, their personal freedoms, their personal concept of freedom in order to feel safe and secure. Now, for some, this might seem to be a preconceived, dysfunctionally imaginative mind that is run its course in self-delusionary scenarios of circumstances that are not as dire as being described. But time itself and the escalation of lawlessness and personal insecurities of the populace that will rise inadvertently to a degree where the people themselves will forego and relinquish all aspects of what rights are in order to feel secure within their persons. Now, that might sound like a conspiracy theorist, or it might sound like I am supportive of what the conspiracy theorists predict. But take a look at your surroundings. Do you feel safer now than you did the previous year? I think not.